Hello everyone, my name is Kinky, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Dagor. It is a new dungeon in World of Warcraft's next expansion, Battle for Azeroth. So in this new dungeon, Dagor, you are storming a stronghold. You start outside of the actual stronghold, and you work your way in, and you go all the way up, and the whole purpose is just to infiltrate this. Actually, it's just really to investigate, but by investigate, what Blizzard actually means, they want you to go inside and kill everything in there. So you start from the outside, you break in, you travel through the sewers. Actually, you fight through the sewers, then you fight through a jail themed area, then you fight through a barracks type area, and finally make your way all the way up to the roof. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Black Temple with how it progresses through the different parts of a building, just on a much smaller scale. The whole dungeon only took us about 30 minutes. There was a lot more of the new character models used in this dungeon compared to Freehold, and that could just be because Freehold was all humans, so it just felt the same, whereas this, yes, it was a Freehold and it was themed off of humans, but throughout the first, I would say, half of the dungeon, you're fighting a lot more mobs that aren't even human. Towards the end, it started to be more human-esque mobs, but even then, it felt fresher than doing what Freehold was. There were no obvious bugs from what I could tell when we went through it. It seemed to be relatively smooth. So good job on Blizzard for getting this dungeon pretty much up to speed for what I would consider ready to go. So in this dungeon, our tank kept on skipping a lot of side packs of mobs, and you can skip quite a bit in this dungeon, but if you make one small step backwards or you're not hugging that wall perfectly, you're gonna pull them. I may or may not have accidentally body pulled 3 times in a row in the matter of about 30 seconds. Yeah, I died, but we didn't wipe. I mean, don't judge me. But anyways, yeah, the mobs are really tightly packed, just like in Freehold, and you don't have to pull all of them, but you'd better play it safe and actually pull more than what you really need to. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have a headache like we did. Fortunately, we didn't wipe, like I said before, but it is a pain in the butt when a couple people die and you have to, especially when I was healing, so they had to, and we didn't have anybody else that could heal, so they had to wait for me to get back before we could progress with the dungeon. I'm also really excited to see how fixes affect this dungeon, because like I said, there's a lot of mobs that are tightly packed, again, just like in Freehold, and you can accidentally pull 10 mobs all at once. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out with the Mythic Plus system. It really looks like Blizzard is building their dungeons this time in anticipation of the Mythic Plus dungeons being relevant until the end of the expansion. So there were 4 total bosses in this dungeon, just like there were in Freehold. The first boss was pretty simple and straightforward, and it's only a few pulls into the dungeon. I think there's only 2 or 3 mob packs that you have to kill before you can actually fight the boss. And this boss was pretty simple, so we probably could have pulled all the mobs in that room up to the boss and just AoE'd them down and then took on the boss, because the boss really didn't seem to be hitting that hard at all. There was one mechanic, but it was still much better than the first boss of Freehold. The second boss was probably my favorite boss fight in the dungeon, but bosses 3 and 4 were also really good. This second boss had some elements of fights I've seen in other places in WoW. I'm not going to spoil any of this and tell you guys where I know those mechanics from, because I don't want you guys to go into this fight knowing what to do, because for me, that's part of the fun, figuring out what to do on the fly for the first couple of dungeon runs. The third boss, again, was pretty simple, but it was a fun simple. It was two or one mechanics, depending on how you look at it, but it was fun to play through, and it required cooperation from everybody, and everybody in my group seemed to be willing to do their part, so thankful for that. Again, the mechanics in this fight were something that I've seen in other fights, however, this time not from WoW. It's been from another MMO that I've noticed the same type of boss mechanics. The fourth and final boss had 2 real mechanics. One was very simple as, hey, don't stand near each other because you're going to take AoE splash damage. And then the second one was something, again, don't stand near people, but it had a little bit more convoluted, not really convoluted, but a little bit more complex than that. I mean, it really required everybody in the party to pay attention to where they were and where stuff was going on around them to prevent themselves from taking unnecessary damage, because it started to stack up really, really quick. Luckily, I was able to heal through most of it. We had one death during the fight, but by the end of it, I had caught on to where I needed to stand in comparison to everybody else and what was going on in the fight. And then as soon as I figured it out, the fight freaking ended. But anyways, this boss will probably be a big pug breaker. I can see a lot of issues being thrown down here when it comes to random heroic groups. This dungeon in general, I can see a lot of pug groups failing at when it comes to the first week of heroics and even the first week of mythics. There's at least 2 boss fights, possibly 3 depending on how you look at it. Actually, maybe you could consider all of them real problems for groups that don't really want to do anything and they want to leave all the responsibilities to somebody else. Those kind of groups are going to have a lot of trouble with this boss fight, with all these boss fights, excuse me. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this dungeon. It was so much better than Freehold. There were way more new visuals. It felt like I was actually doing something. I was there for a purpose, and everything just felt much fresher. And having mechanics, the actual boss fights, made me feel much more engaged. And for those reasons, this dungeon was much better for me than Freehold. But anyways, guys, that wraps up this video. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more at Battle for Azeroth Alpha videos in the future. Also, head over to our channel. We got plenty of other good content over there. If you like Overwatch, we covered the Overwatch League. If you want to hear more about Classic WoW, we plan on doing more stuff about that. Ashes of Creation. Just head over there and check it all out. It's an awesome channel. We got plenty of good videos over there for you. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, it's Radit here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel. We put out multiple new videos each week, and we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and cheers.